I'm wondering how you guys go about designing a game that celebrates movement.
We're first very excited to bring gamers a shooter that really does embrace freedom of movement and speed of movement. First of all, it's just a lot of fun to move from point A to point B, whether I'm jetpacking to a sniping point or I'm capping the flag at Mach 5 with my hair on fire through skiing. So movement is key, and so the way we look at that is first we wanted those movement options to be accessible to new players. So we've made some design choices to actually make it easier for a new player to pick up those movement options. But in Tribes, as you say, it really is the individual player skill that can make such a difference between moving from A to B, and we've really tried to embrace that.
For gamers that aren't familiar with the technique, can you explain skiing and how you've gone about transferring it from the original game to Ascend?
Feels like I'm not just running around a map with a gun, but there's a skateboard attached to my feet, basically. Once you master it, you really get tremendous horizontal movement and vertical movement. And there's actually no enforced code maximum on how fast you as a player can go when you're skiing. So as a player, you really get just an immediate adrenaline rush the first time you get a feel for that in the map. Well, we're using Unreal 3, which is a great looking engine, certainly. Tribes people associate the classic games with very, very large maps and really being able to see some beautiful vistas. So we've certainly preserved that, particularly with our big exterior-based maps. The maps, I think, are a little bit grittier than the original Tribes, maybe a little bit more Batman Begins than Batman and Robin, to use an analogy, but we've stayed very true to a lot of the core designs for vehicles, for the generator, for the weapons, and really just modernize them. I think that Tribes plays best when it feels more like a team sport than an FPS. The analogy of roles and specializations certainly comes into play. So what we've tried to do is provide some starting templates of roles, particular build-outs, collections of primary weapon, secondary weapon, deployable, belt, and even things like vehicle certification that will help a new player get their head around this massive battlefield and let them specialize.
You guys are going to be adapting a new business model for Tribes, free-to-play. What is about free-to-play from the gamer perspective that benefits them?
We love the game Tribes, we miss it, we want to bring it back and have as many people experience it as possible. Free-to-play is really a model that will let the maximum number of people experience the gameplay, and as gamers decide without spending a dime whether it's a game that is fitting with them and one they want to invest more time and potentially even money in. Modding is responsible for keeping the original Tribes games alive. Now, a big reason for that is also because for various circumstances the developer support wasn't there. The community picked that up, and that was great for the franchise. However, we are looking at it very differently. We're looking at this not as a fire and forget, we're on to the next project sort of endeavor. We are looking at this more as a service where we're always updating the game, not only with bug fixes, but new content as far as weapons and maps, etc. And because of that, our chief priority is making sure we deliver a fun game and one that we can continual support versus delivering mod tools, because with the complexity of today's engines, delivering mod tools and keeping them up to date is a very big endeavor. Well, I would agree with you that Capture the Flag is what the franchise is associated with, and that really is our core or lead game mode that we're going to offer in beta. And I think you're right. We want a few of the things that make it so fun, not only the speed involved with capping the flag and returning the flag and those last-minute kills or sniper shots when someone's about to return the flag, but the whole idea of the base mechanic that supports Capture the Flag in Tribes is very unique and was very much ahead of its time. Another game mode that we plan to start with in beta is Rabbit, which is also a well-known game type and a very simple one, and for that reason has its own appeal, where simply a collection of players are all pursuing the flag, and whoever has the flag is it, and they try to hold it for as many ticks as possible, and everyone else tries to shoot them, and then they grab the flag and they become the one that's pursued. We're definitely looking at some of the classic vehicle designs from Tribes, including the Shrike, as well as a grav cycle. We've made a few changes. Our grav cycle is actually a two-seater, so you can have a passenger that can wield the weapons. Tribes is probably best known for the Spin Fuser, which is the disc launcher, which is a great weapon that again combines that high player skill of being able to fly and lead your opponent and do some AoE splash damage with it, and we've definitely preserved the Spin Fuser, and that's a popular choice. Really, most of the classic weapons that people will remember from Tribes they'll find in Ascend. One of the devices that we tried out earlier that's new to the franchise is the Arcs Buster, and I think that really wasn't in original Tribes games, but it really fits the gameplay of Tribes, and basically it's a large weapon that I can fire 3 concurrent sticky grenades, more or less, sticky explosives, because if I can see where you're coming and anticipate your route, I can plop down those 3 artilleries right in front of you and really do tremendous damage. It's also very useful for sticking to things like turrets and other deployables on the battlefield. So it's a very Tribe-esque weapon, but one that's new to the franchise, and that's the sort of thing that we'll be continuing to enhance the game with.